Talk Show now. The Message Talk Show is going live Thursday, 11 o'clock. It's your show, my show, our show, the Globe Show, the World Show. You need to tune in. Don't miss this show. Don't miss this. Call your friends. Call your enemies. Get a cup of tea. Get a cup of coffee. Get your breakfast. And tune in to the Message Talk Show, Thursday, 11 o'clock. Welcome to the Message Talk Show, broadcasting from the City of London. Call your friends. Call your mates. Get a cup of coffee. Get a cup of tea. Call your worst enemies, man. Don't tell me you ain't got nobody to call. Call them. You know why? Because we believe that passionate and mission-centered individuals are going to bring the change that we seek in our society. So we help educators, we help content creators, we help coaches and speakers go from unknown to unforgettable. Just get your message out. Just get your message out to the world. So if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, or just an idea, connect with us. Craft your message and get featured on the Message Talk Show, Thursdays, 11 a.m. on a weekly basis. If you can't tune in for the live show, then tune in for the replay. Hey guys, just press the share button. Just press the connect button. Just press whatever button there is in front of you and tune in to the Message Talk Show with host Alex Gordon. That is what I call automation for you. That's the biggest bit of automation that I can ever see. Man, I'm talking and my mouth is not moving. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? That's exciting, isn't it?
Technology.
Man, technology, man. You do half the work before the show starts, you know? And then when you come into the show, you just sit back, get your cup of tea. Did you get your cup of tea this morning, Michael?
I've got my water.
You got your water, eh? You've obeyed the rules, Michael. You've obeyed the rules. You've obeyed the rules. You've obeyed the rules.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a while since we've had a face-to-face.
I know. Virtual face-to-face, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, this is still a face-to-face with me because
that's true.
We don't know how long this is going to go on for, man. So we better get comfortable with this, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, find our zone, so to speak, so we're comfortable. We're talking online, you know?
Yeah.
And because, as I said, we don't know how long this is going to go on for. But in the midst of this, Michael, you have been very busy. Now, the last time we spoke was back in what, March?
I think it was, yeah.
March time.
I think it was just before this.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so it was just before the COVID kicked in, I think, when we spoke. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, today, folks, we have a gentleman by the name of Michael Earle in the house. Today, we're talking about how to support men during the pandemic. Now, you know, sometimes we assume that everybody's fine, but everybody's not fine. And it just happened to me this week that a young lady approached me and she asked me this question. She told me a situation about this gentleman she knows, how he'd lost his job. He's lost everything. He's doing another job, but it's not paying him at least a tenth of what he's earning now. And he's got a family to feed. And she was saying, how do I help him? Because I thought she recognized some sort of crisis that he was going through. And then that just spurred it in my spirit to say, okay, we need to have a talk about this, you know? One pastor came on and said, it's not that women have got it all together, but it's not about whether we've got it all together or not, but it's how we can support each other. I think that's where we need to have the conversation. So today we have Michael Earle today, the Wellbeing consultant in the house. Always what, Michael?
Take your lunch break.
Where did that come from, Michael?
Right, okay, very quickly, Alex. When I was in social care, I was a social worker for 12 years with my local authority. And I've always had an interest in well-being. And one of the teachers I was working with in one of the local schools was very forward-thinking. And she said to me, would you be able to put like a little program, a presentation together for my staff about self-care? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I always do is take my lunch break. So I actually called the presentation, Always Take Your Lunch Break. And from there, that led to me actually starting my wellbeing consultancy. And that phrase kind of stayed with me. And it's something that I use now as a banner for well-being and self-care. So it started as a presentation, but it's almost taken on a life of its own. It's become a little bit of a brand, and people recognize it.
You owe her. You owe her. You owe this lady, mate. You owe her, because the brand has gone across the world.
No, I mean, I'm still in touch with her, funny enough, and I do talk about it, and yeah, so I'm still in touch with her. She's left the teaching career now, and she's having a great retirement, but we're still in touch. But yes, I'm really grateful to her, because that is where it was birthed many years ago, but it's still now a major message, and it's something that I use to get the message of self-care across to people in a very simple and easy to digest way, if you excuse the pun.
Yeah, no, it's always take your lunch break. It's one of those things that you don't even think about. You're at work, you're working, you're at your desk. Even when you're at home and you're working and you've got things to do. And sometimes the time just runs away with you. And before you know it, half the day's gone and you don't think about taking lunch.
Yeah, and it's very detrimental, actually, Alex, because by not taking and you need to take the break in the middle of the working day. That's the other thing, because a lot of people think, well, what I'll do, I'll work through the day, then I'll go home early. That doesn't happen. It never happens. And by the time you've done that, you've actually wasted the impact of the break. The break must be taken in the middle of your working day, because then it gives your body and your mind a chance to regroup, refocus, re-energize, and go back into the workplace. So by not taking a lunch break, you are actually becoming less productive. So you're not actually doing yourself or your workplace any good.
One minute. Just repeat that one sentence. You said that by not taking your lunch break, you're doing what?
Well, you're not doing yourself. You become less productive.
Less productive, guys. Productive.
You think you're doing okay, but you're not. You know, the research shows that your production, quality of your production, your decisions, it goes down. So it's actually quite dangerous.
Wow.
So if you're making important decisions in your workplace and you're working through, there's a possibility of you making errors, so the error ratio goes up. So it's not a good idea.
The quality of your decisions go down if you don't take a break.
Yeah,
halfway through the day.
Yeah, in the middle of the day. As close to I understand that people have different shifts. I get that, but as close to the middle of your working day, your working hours, whatever they may be, that's when it has the most impact.
Wow. On average, we're talking about 7 to 8 hour shift.
Yeah. Some people work 6 hours. Yeah. Basically, if you work more than 6 hours in the day, you are legally entitled to a lunch break. That's law. Okay, let's just put that on the table. That's law. Okay, that's not an argument. That is actually law. So,
all right.
I'm not here to fight anybody. Another frightening statistic, Alex, I just picked up recently. 56% of the UK workforce do not take a lunch break, and that's scary. Sorry.
Much as 56% don't.
That's the latest stat I picked up. 56% do not take a lunch break. So good.
You're saying 56% of the decisions that are being made are not as good because of not taking the lunch break.
You could say that. That is a possibility. I'm choosing my words very carefully, Alex. I'm saying it's a possibility. Okay,
it's a possibility.
There are the anomalies. Yeah, there are some super people, and they're amazing, and I get that. But I'm generally talking. It is very advisable, if you can, to take a lunch break in the middle of your working day, or as close to, for better productivity and better personal health as well.
That's true. I think the law of diminishing return sets in, doesn't it? When you're not taking the breaks and you start to lag.
Yeah, it's very small increments as well. It's almost unnoticeable, Alex, until the time that you feel fatigued and stressed, and then it's too late, because it's already, the effect has happened. But it's just over time, those days, those weeks, those months, it all builds up to the point where you may become fatigued or may become stressed, and it might be leading back to something simple as taking a lunch break. That could have been the catalyst.
That's so simple,
but we didn't notice.
Taking a simple lunch break will save your life.
There you go. That could be another little headline, could it? Could be.
Wow, that's amazing. We take things we take ourselves for granted, and we push ourselves, and we don't quite understand what's going on in this body and mind of ours.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see people take ill at certain times of their lives, and you wonder what caused that. There was no trace of it, but as you're saying, there's been a build up over the years.
Absolutely, that's what it is. Almost invisible. It's almost invisible. You can't really see it until it hits.
You
after
can't
those
really see
4,
it.
5, 6 years, whatever it is, that period of time.
Wow, you can't really see it until it hits. Before I jump into the show, I must give a shout out to, there's a young lady out there who works with me, and this show goes on every week. We haven't missed a show since we began at the beginning of the year. Thursday every week, and this lady has been there working. She does my social media. She puts up the notes on the screens.
Wow.
I just want to give a shout out to D. If you can hear me, D, just put a word in, D. Just put a chat in, D. Just jump into the chat and say hi to the crowd.
We're
just
grateful.
Say hi.
We're very grateful. Very grateful.
Wow. Yes. Sometimes there's an assumption that everything just runs so smooth,
No, never.
All by yourself, but no, there's someone behind the scenes making things happen. I send her information, she pushes it back out, and then she'll call me and say, Alex, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. What's wrong? And I'm thinking, I'm fiddling with the mic now, and I'm fiddling with the mic like I'm the expert, I'm fiddling off. No, that was just a slight adjustment there. I should have just made it there, She said, well, turn it up, Alex, turn it up. We can't hear you. But But so she keeps me on track. She keeps me on track just to help me to produce the show, to make sure a show goes out to the public, one that's of reasonable standard. Yes.
Yeah. No, top class standard.
I would say that the show is of reasonable standard.
No,
the Message Talk
standard.
show is of reasonable standard.
Excellent.
And she's
Thanks to D. Round of applause for D.
Thanks to D.
Big up D.
Yes, she's probably sitting there thinking, growling her face now, Don't like the limelight. From when she should come on the show? She's supposed to come on the show. I said, come on the show. Let's do an interview. Let's talk about what you do, and let's broadcast your services. And, okay. Yeah, this day or that day, but she hasn't yet. But she's going to come on the show soon, all right?
Come on, D.
Before the year's over. Before the year's over, she's going to come on and talk about what she does in her support with the Message Talk show. Yes.
Right, look forward to that.
So today we're talking about how to help men, how to support men during the pandemic. We've had a 9-month run now, 8 to 9 months of intermittent lockdown, and the COVID virus still in the background. You can't see it. It's there. It's affecting us. We're not sure what to do sometimes. We're told just to wash our hands and wear our masks. Some people are saying it's breaching their rights. Mm-hmm. But guys, all we want to do is stay alive. And if we can contribute to us staying alive, then that should matter, shouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got to do whatever it takes just to keep each other alive, because we're in this together.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in this together. And so when a question was asked to me as, how can I help this young man? How can I help him? How can I support him for what he's going through? And I'm thinking about all the other men out there who are going through the pandemic. They've either lost their jobs, things are not the same. They're at home now. Some are working from home. Some are at the front line. Mm-hmm. Some have died because of being at the front line. And we're here. And all right. D has popped in. She has popped into the show. Yes, she says, I will. She will come on the show.
Oh, good.
She will. I will. Okay, D, thank you very much.
Excellent.
So some have died. And when you see the stories on TV of nurses that have died, children talking about their parents who've lost their lives because they're on the front line, because they didn't have the proper PPE equipment. And you're thinking, you're trying to understand what they're going through. You can't quite understand what they're going through. It's a loss that will never come back. And there'll be a constant memory of the time that we went through. And, you grieve and you think, you just have to say a little prayer for them, just to give them strength. Yeah. Absolutely. Just to take them through this time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And there are those who are still with us, who are not quite dealing with it or handling it. What are some of the suggestions that you'd have, Michael, to help us, to help some men out there, to help some men on the verge of not knowing what to do, frustrated, getting to the point of, no return? What can they do?
Right, Alex, I'm so glad you've asked that question. It's a very serious question, And as you said in your preamble about, that men seem to have, and again, this is research based, men are not very good at expressing their feelings. They're not very good at connecting. Um, Women have that ability. They connect. They like to talk. They like to share with each other, and they're very good at getting peer support from each other. One of the tips I'm going to give to the women, men out there is very simple, because one of my things that I do is I do simplicity and clarity. I don't like to get too technical because I don't think technical works, and especially in the time that we are going through now. So what I'm going to say to you is very basic, but it's also very powerful. Ladies, men, men to men, ladies to men, the best thing you can do is to tell a man that you want to sit down and have a serious talk about how they are feeling. But there's the caveat is, if you do say this, please make sure that you have the time to sit down and listen to what they have to say. Okay, I'm going to say that again because it is serious. You need to make sure that you have the time to listen. Listening to somebody is a very powerful component to helping men get through this. Because what happens is, as men, Alex, myself, we tend to internalize what we are experiencing. We are not very good at expressing it outwardly. We keep it inside and we say to ourselves, well, I will just get on with this. I will bear this. So men are bearers. We bear things. We take things on and we just go through with it. Women are more likely to express and talk and get peer support much more easily than men. But, and I say but, we do want to talk. Men want to know that they're going to be listened to. So don't start a conversation and say, how are you? And in the next 2 seconds say, oh yeah, that's wonderful. Right, see you later. Don't start the conversation. If you're going to have a conversation with a man, be serious to say, look, I really want to sit down with you and have a cup of coffee or a tea, and let's talk about things. Say, I've noticed something. You're not yourself. Your face has changed. There's an expression I haven't seen you lately. Let's sit down. So if you're going to talk to a man, you must have the time to listen, because when they start talking, they will open up. But they need to know that you're going to listen, because talking therapies are very, very powerful. And the other thing, Alex, before I give you a break to come in, sorry about the rambling on, but this is one of the things that's really important. And again, research is showing that men are less likely to take up talking therapies than women. So again, it's showing in research. We kind of know it from our own, interactions, but research is showing that we do not take up the talking therapies that are available. So men need to be encouraged. So we're a bit more work. We are a bit more work, but we will talk, we will speak. But we just want to know, if we go down that road, that you have the time to listen. So it's giving the time to listen, and then you can have a conversation. But we're not as open and as flexible as our female counterparts, who are very good at getting peer support and talking to each other. It's one of their strengths. We need to learn that. So if you're gonna get in a conversation with a man, you need to have the time, because when they open up, they're going to want to know that you're going to be there to listen. So don't half start it. Don't. That's dangerous.
Wow.
Yeah, that is really, really dangerous. Make sure you have the time. Really sit down, settle, and focus, and have that conversation. Then we'll open up.
So you said that men bear things. So
Yeah, we
they
take stuff.
self-bear.
Yeah, we take stuff on, and we just, it could be a really heavy burden decision. For example, maybe that they're taking extra work at work. They probably won't tell their wives about it or partners. They'll just do it. So they'll probably do the extra shifts and say, "Yeah, I'll just get on with it." And it's that I'll just get on with it attitude, because that stems into the macho thing, the masculinity thing. Where I'm a man.
But
I'm
isn't getting
supposed
on
to
with
get
it
on with
dealing
it.
isn't getting on with it dealing with it in their own way? Then there's probably a conversation going on in their heads
Yeah.
about what they're doing, but isn't it just doing it, getting on with it a way that helps them to get through it? Because there's action there.
Yeah, but yes and no. Yes and no, Alex. I know that's complicated. Okay, let's break this down. yes, obviously it's good for men to be able to get on with things and do things. It's kind of like how we were sort of programmed, okay? And I get that. But what we're talking about now is life and death situations, okay? 1 in 4 suicides are committed by men. Yeah, and suicide is the biggest killer of men in the United Kingdom. And the times that we're living in now perpetuate suicide attempts. I'm working with clients who are talking about and having suicidal thoughts and talking about now. This is what's happening now today. Yeah.
And what are the
So,
reasons? What are the reasons given for men to get to that point of committing suicide? What are the reasons?
well, some of the reasons that I've picked up are feelings of nowhere to go, no one to turn to, low self-esteem. They feel that they're, useless. This pandemic is one of the things it's doing. It's actually strips people of their self-esteem. Now, a lot of people's self-esteem is linked to their job, what they do. Yeah, right. And if you lose your job, that's a massive impact on your self-worth. Yeah, because a lot of our lives are centered around what we do.
Yeah, it's
Right?
identity. It's a form of
Absolutely.
identity.
It's a
Yeah.
massive part of our identity. So losing your job as a man is a huge negative factor. And I'm not saying it's a negative factor for a lady as well. Obviously, of course, it's negative. But for men, that's right up on their scale of identity. You are very closely linked to what we do. Okay, so
You're saying that we don't adjust as quickly
right,
when there's a point of rejection from what we're doing for the last 20, 10, 15, 20 years of our lives.
yeah,
We don't adjust very quickly.
absolutely, yeah, and so that could be quite a trigger point. Losing a job, losing an income, being identified in the family as the head of the house, the breadwinner. Again, these are stereotypes. I mean, I know they're stereotypes, but we're addressing them because they're real. Okay, I'm not trying to get political or whatever. I'm just addressing things as they are, as we know them to be. Yeah, and so we need to think about these things, these elements, and these are the things that men are not going to want to be wanting to talk about very openly, but they need to know that if they do go down that road, that you're going to be there to listen, because it might be a new experience for them talking about it. We're not very, we don't constantly talk about things. Men just get on and do stuff. You know that, Alex. I know that. We just get on and do stuff. When a man goes to the shop for bacon, he goes to the shop, picks up the bacon, and comes back out. When my wife, it's okay. My wife's in the next room. It's okay. When my wife goes to the shop for bacon, she might pick up some. Oh, there's some cabbage as well, or pick up something else. She might come up with 13 things, right? 13 items. I come up with one. It's the way we think differently. Okay, that's a crazy example, but you know what I mean. We think differently. A man is just like, I'll get that and go. So talking is like coming out of his comfort zone. That's like, we don't talk. We just get on with get on with things. We don't talk. Well, I'm telling you now, men. If there's any men listening to this or will be listening to this later, this is the time to talk. Yeah, 3 T's. Time to talk. Now, this is the time to talk, because talking could save your life.
So
I'm serious.
If a guy's at the point of suicidal thoughts, is something is happening in his mind to get him to that point. How do you then help to bring someone back from that point?
Again, Alex, it's simple. Almost, people say, oh, how can you say that? You need to be there and say, I'm going to listen to what's in your head. We have got to try to get what's in their head out of their mouth, because it's the thoughts, it's those locked up thoughts that are doing the damage, and the lack of our ability to release those thoughts through speaking. Speaking is very powerful. It's very, very, because I can have these suicidal thoughts, but if I express that to them, say, actually, do you know what? I'm really feeling low. Even the act of saying it is a release. It's an emotional and a physical release, because you've taken what's in your head and you've let it come out of your mouth, and someone else knows, rather than the bearing mentality. I'll just keep this to myself. I'll get on with it. Do you know what? I don't think there's anything else. I can't get any help, so I think I'm going to go and do whatever. Right. No.
But the internal conversation is going on. He's probably having a conversation with himself.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are.
To justify or, what he's thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to an individual recently, talking about this very same thing, saying that, what's the point? I might as well just, do what I need to do and go. And I said, you might want to do that. And then I said to him, what about your children? I said, think about who is going to tell your children what happened to their dad.
Wow.
And bam, it made him pause at least. He went, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Conversations are powerful. We must engage in conversation. I'm very, very serious about that, Alex. I like to,
Wow.
I like to laugh. I like to have a laugh, and I like to have a joke. But we are in serious times, and talking, getting the ideas out of their head, speak to somebody. It doesn't have to be a GP. It doesn't have to be a therapist. It could be someone that you trust, someone that will literally sit down, turn off their phone, and talk to you and say, "Tell me what's going on. Tell me what's in your head. Tell me what you are thinking."
Wow.
It's not about having right or wrong answers. Forget that. No. This is just about the power of communication. Talk to me.
Wow.
It's time to talk. It is time to talk.
Just had a comment from one of the viewers, Eve Piper, and Eve says, women are generally who they are, whether it's a lockdown or pregnancy. They find a way to get on with it. But isn't that what guys are doing then? They're just getting on with it. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're getting on with it.
Yeah,
in their own way.
In their own way, but some men are experiencing a lot of pressure. Pressure from themselves. And what I'm advocating men being able to communicate, to speak more, and will want to encourage men to talk and to share their experiences. Even if they're sharing it with someone else, that is really powerful. And I do take Eve's point. Yes, women do get on. Yeah, I'm not disputing that. Not a dispute at all. What I'm focusing on today is encouraging men to talk about negative feelings that they're having, because they don't have to bear them alone. And that's what they think they have to do. And the other thing is that we think if we talk about these feelings, that we're going to be identified as being weak. Again, another stereotype. Wow. Yeah, we've got so many of these things to get rid of, Alex.
Wow. So let me throw another question here, because I've got a question from outside saying, are women dealing with the lockdown differently from men? Is there a distinction in the way that women are handling the lockdown? Okay, we don't want to generalize too much, but
no, not generalize.
Is there a distinction here that you've come across?
I wouldn't say a distinction, but I think I've mentioned it earlier. I think ladies, women are more able to access peer support. They're used to accessing peer support. They're very good at communicating with each other. I have found that in my few years on this planet, that women are they will talk to each other and express themselves a lot more freely than men do. Let me put that as a fair comment, okay? And there
so you're saying peer support, their peer support systems are better than men?
I think they're better established than men.
They're better established.
Yes, better established, but it doesn't mean that men cannot and do not have peer groups. When men get together, and again, I am framing this very broadly. This is not scientifically based, okay? Yeah. Just in case anyone gets a little upset. When men get together, they don't usually talk emotionally. They usually talk, it's action, things that are going on, sport, what I've done at work, achievements. They don't really go down to that emotional level as easily as women do. And I think that's a fair comment. I'm happy to be shot down, no problem. But I think that's with my observations of what I've noticed in my work, and that is a possibility. But what we're encouraging men to talk on another level now. We're encouraging men to actually talk about how they are feeling. And this is the point, talking about the feelings. And for some men, that could be a whole new experience. But what we're saying is that there are agencies, there are organizations, there are groups that will help us as men to get into those feelings and to talk about it and to get it out of our head, get it out into the open, talk to someone else and get a little bit of feedback and get the support that is available. Because once we find out what's going on, then we can signpost men to the appropriate support. And that is what we want to do. That's the end result. Find appropriate support to help men wherever they are in their journey or their situation, and prevent negative outcomes.
I have another comment here from Eve Piper, who says that I think men not being as vocal stems from tradition, their upbringing, being tough and strong, and not being allowed to be emotional. How true is that today?
I think what Eve is saying is true in the past. This thing about men shouldn't cry, and again, this thing about perpetuating the just get on with it. If you fall over, don't be a girl. And these are some of the things I heard when I was growing up. Right? Don't be so soft. All that stuff. Man up.
Yeah, but that's more than 20 years ago, Michael.
Right, yeah,
that's more than 20 years ago, Michael.
Yeah, but I've still heard people using the phrase "man up" recently, Alex. I'm sure you have as well. We're telling people to man up. So that could be taken in two ways. Okay, that could be be a man, or it can be just stop moaning, stop complaining, just get on with it, right? Yeah,
Stop complaining.
Get on with it. Are you a man or a mouse? So on all these messages, and so now we're saying, oh no, it's time to talk. So there's a bit of confusion going on, but we're talking about saving lives. We are talking about saving lives, and so just bring this all back into focus. We don't want to lose focus. This is about the serious business of saving lives, because suicide is not a natural cause of death. It's not a natural cause of dying. It's on purpose. So, and it is the biggest killer of men in the UK under 35 years old. Okay, that's a fact.
Under 35 years of age.
Yeah, it's the number one killer.
And the same reason men are not conversing at that age, under 35.
Yeah, and the other sort of, not a nice statistic, but it is a statistic. Men are more successful at suicide than women. Women will attempt it. Men, they execute, they carry it through, again, because they've got this mentality of I'm just going to get on with it. So it has a negative connotation in suicide attempt, and that's why the figures are so high. So they don't talk about it; they just go and do it. So, you see, women are more likely to talk about how they're feeling.
Yeah,
I'm feeling, but someone hears about it. No, don't do that.
What are the signs that you kind of look for?
One of the major signs, and this is again a symptom of the pandemic, is isolation. So maybe and we're in lockdown, so that doesn't help. So it's really, 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 really bad. So we're in lockdown, but isolation, keeping yourself away from people, is a symptom. So you can imagine what lockdown is doing for some people.
So you need to get out of the house. You need to find a way to come out of the house then.
Yes, definitely. Trying to get out, connect, even going for walks. And we spoke about this before. A bit of exercise, maybe going for a walk or a jog, is very, very important. More so now than ever. We need to take some time to get out of our houses. Bit of exercise, just walking. You might think, well, what's the point? It's worth it. It's really important. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said to her, "Did you get a chance to go out yesterday?" And she said, "You know what? I don't think I did. I was on meetings all day." I said, "No, you've got to stop that." I said, "No, you can't do that again today. You've got to get outside.
Got to get outside.
Forget about the cold. Get outside. Wrap up."
I never realized until someone brought it to my attention that even the very fact that the gyms are locked, the gyms are not accessible by a lot of guys, has seriously affected some large part of our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Because men like to exercise and to work out, and the gym has a twofold situation or twofold benefit for men, because it's just physical. It's also it's a social gathering as well. So men meet their friends there, and they regularly train together. So physically, yes, it's great for you, but that's a major element again of their social network, going to the gym and meeting their friends. So yes, having the gyms closed, major impact on a lot of men's and other people's, and not just say men, women as well, of course, that part of their social circle. So not just the physical, it's the social bit that's been shut off as well. So, we're looking forward to when this lockdown ends, because it's going to be great for people to be able to get back out again and communicate. We were built to connect. Humans were built to connect, see each other, hug each other, handshake, how you doing, have a chat face to face. But we have to use technology now until things turn around. But the basis is, Alec, you can reach out by phone, you can reach out by text.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, communicate. Find a way to
reach out.
There might be somebody that you haven't heard from for months.
Yeah, that's it. Someone we haven't heard from for months, not seen them, not heard from them.
Please,
give them a call. Give them a call.
Or if you don't want to call them, send them a text. Send them a simple text. Yeah, hi James, how are you? I haven't heard from you for a while. That's all.
How you doing?
That's all they need, and they see that and they think, oh, someone cares about me.
Someone cares
Might
about me.
might get a reply back, might not, but just it's a text. It's not even a phone call. You don't if you don't want to speak or you don't like speaking on the phone, great. Send a text, a 5-word text. Hi, how are you? 5-word text.
Yeah.
A 5-word text could say a
I mean,
5-word text. Okay, let's go a bit deep. Okay, let's go
yeah,
deep.
because
A 5-word text could save someone's life. There you go. Yeah, and you can tell him I said that as well. A 5-word text could save someone's life.
5-word text just saying, how are you?
Yeah, how are you?
Guys, you may not, you have some friends out there you haven't seen for a while. You have some friends out there, some male friends. I'm talking guys to guys now because you have some friends, you know who they are. You haven't heard from them for a while. Michael is saying, just drop a text and say, hey guy, how you doing? You know, a WhatsApp, just drop in the WhatsApp.
Yeah.
How you doing? Because I don't get texts myself. I don't really get texts. I always thought I'm not a text person. So because I'm not a text person, I don't drive things through text. So because I don't drive things through text, I don't get texts. Yeah.
Or also there's the WhatsApp voice message. That's really quite nice as well. Or if you have Messenger, send a quick messenger, a voice message.
Just the audio.
Yeah, the audio, because it's really nice to hear the sound of someone else's voice. The sound of someone's voice. Yeah, just somebody saying, oh, Peter, man, I was just thinking about you yesterday, so I'm just sending you a quick message to let you know that, I'm thinking about you and get back to me, let me know how you are. So the sound of someone's voice as well.
The sound of someone's voice.
Text is good, but the sound, just a 60-second voice message, Messenger,
60-second
WhatsApp.
voice message. So we can...
That could change someone's day.
Yeah,
that could absolutely change someone. And I'm very serious about that. And I don't really care what people have to say about what I've just said. I believe that is true. That hearing somebody's voice could be the difference between, shall I or shan't I?
Wow. A 60-second voicemail. A 60-second voicemail can save someone's life.
I absolutely
get on the phone, guys.
That.
Get on the phone and just send a text. Send a voice text. Send a voice text out to some. Go through your contact list. Yeah. Find all the guys that you've known over the years. You may not have spoken to them in a while. Just send a 60-second voice text to say, how are you? How's it going?
Yeah, that's it. That's all it is.
That's it.
Yeah. That
can make a big difference.
I 100% believe that, Alex, and will argue with anyone as long as they want to on that one. No danger.
Because you can never really understand what someone's going through, which they have a conversation with themselves until they get to the point of justifying that they're no longer required, they're no longer needed in this life, they're no longer needed here.
Yeah.
And they suddenly decide that, I'm going to end it. You can't understand the process of the thought. But if you break that pattern of self-talk, it's a self-talk that we're breaking, isn't it? It's the interruption.
Absolutely.
It's interrupting that self-talk that someone's going through.
Yeah.
So you send them a text, you have a conversation with them to find out how they are.
That's it. Yeah. That's perfect.
In small ways.
You just said. Yeah. What you said is perfect. It breaks that chain of thought. That is excellent. I really like that. Sending that text, that's what the text is doing. The text is intercepting the negative thought that no one cares about me. No one remembers me. No one's gonna notice me if I'm gone. These are the thoughts that are in. No one. Can
you imagine that? No one's gonna notice me if I'm gone. No one's gonna notice that I'm gone.
Right. These are the thoughts that are in a man's head or someone that's about to commit suicide. I know folks don't remember, but it's that's the thing. That's what leads to it. Yeah. No one's gonna notice me. No one's gonna care. No one's gonna know. And the thing is, Alex, it's the aftermath of the act that is the most powerful and hurtful thing to do. Okay? Because that person, if they are successful in their attempt at suicide, they have gone, but the drama and the trauma that they've left behind is not worth thinking about. And that is the
trauma left behind.
That is the trauma left behind. The children. How do you tell children that their dad's gone?
Yeah.
Well, that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to have to think about. But they've left that behind. So we are in serious times. This is a serious situation. We might not be able to see the COVID virus, but we can see the effect that it's having on people, and that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with helping a man somewhere understand that he's not alone, that he does matter, he does care, and he will be missed if he goes.
He does care.
And this is about
Wow.
prevention. This is about
Wow.
prevention.
This is preventative. Prevention.
Yeah, we're talking about prevention.
Prevention. Let me just jump back in here to another note that's coming, that this lady is coming at us, man. She's questioning you here. She says, maybe I missed this earlier. Do men find it difficult to communicate their inner feelings, and why? Do you think identity has anything to do with this from the perspective of stereotypes? Why? Michael, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, very simple answer. I believe, and again, this is my personal opinion. I'm not backing this on anybody. But yes, we do find it hard to communicate. Yeah, we do. We do find it hard to, when I say to communicate, I mean communicate our emotions. Okay? And again, there might be some men out there who may disagree. That's okay. That's cool. I'm talking
there's different types of people. There's different types of people and who respond in different ways.
Yeah, and I accept that. But I'm talking generally today for the purposes of this conversation. And generally, men find it's not their first go-to to be expressing their emotions. Yeah, let's say that. How about that? Okay, it's not their go-to thing. Yeah. Men are usually action orientated. They just do stuff. They go and do it. Okay, so talking about emotions is another level. It's another step. And so yes, they will need the time. As I said before, they will need the time to feel safe that they can do that. Because they need to feel safe. Time and space to do it. We can, and we do, but it's not our number one go-to thing.
Wow.
So yes, I take your point, and I did mention it earlier, and thank you for the question. Awesome question. Thank you for your engagement. It's amazing. Very important.
Wow. So we have certain stereotypes that we kind of stick to. Yeah,
we need to break all that stuff down, because the stereotypes are killing people. They're killing people.
Okay, Alex. But I wouldn't even use the word stereotypes, because we're talking about programming here, yeah? We're talking about programming from birth. We're talking about something in my DNA that I do that doesn't warrant me talking about how I feel all the time. Mm. But instead, I have a conversation with myself, go through with myself, and then get on doing something to bypass what's conversation that's happening in my head. Yeah, is that what you're saying? Yeah. So I'm bypassing that conversation by doing, and then by doing, I think I'm producing my own self-healing, because I'm doing something which I enjoy doing, or whatever. I'm enjoying doing this, so I'm producing my own self-healing. That's what's happening?
I believe so. And again, I said I believe so. I'm not talking about anyone else's theory here. This is from my experience, what I've seen, and my own, from what I've felt my own self as well. Yeah, we just think, okay, look, I'll just get on with it. Again, it's that mentality. I'll just no, I don't want to talk about it. I'll just do this, and that will be the answer.
Wow. But I'll just do this, that's what I'm saying. Hey, Michael, before we go any further, let me just jump to our sponsor here for a 2-second break to our sponsor here. You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon. I don't know where you're joining us from today. I don't know where you're listening from. I don't know if you're joining from the States, Australia, America, wherever you're joining us from today. Michael Earle here, the Wellbeing consultant, is talking about how do we support men during the pandemic, the conversation we're having. And the one thing that's really come home to us right now is finding a way to break the internal conversation that's going on in some guys' heads, because they're isolated, because they're on their own, breaking that internal conversation by other guys just sending a text, a voice text, because hearing the voice helps to break whatever. Someone cares about me. Someone cares about me enough to send me a text, to send me a voice text. Someone's thinking about me. Yep. So that has a different connotation, because someone's taking the time out to send me that text or to do that. And that doesn't happen necessarily among guys. It may happen among the female peer support systems, but not really among men sending texts to each other to say, how are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. But what it is, Alex, that's really good now, we've got the chance to change that, because
we've got the chance to change that.
Yeah, because we're here today, we're still alive, we're having these conversations, and these are the types of conversations that change things. These are changing conversations that can change the outcome for ourselves,
we're changing the
for
outcome.
Our family members. Yeah, absolutely. And we need to have more of these conversations. That is the way forward. More conversations where men can come together and say, do you know what? I'm not feeling too bright today. And the reason why is A, B, and C.
But Michael, it's not that there's not groups out there, because I remember at the beginning of lockdown, I was invited to a men's group online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I jumped in probably once or twice. I was busy. I don't know what I was doing. And I jumped in once or twice. And because there wasn't a lot of activity taking place in there wasn't a lot of things going on. I didn't go back myself.
Okay.
I didn't go back myself. So I can imagine that other guys out there jumping onto some groups, and because no one's really having the conversation in the group or talking about anything that's, that's grabbing their attention, they don't go back. So it's not that there's not some groups out there that could help.
Right.
The participation's not there from the guys.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And I accept that, but it shouldn't stop us from actually putting the word out.
Reaching out.
Yeah, reaching out. Yeah, we have to, and we have to do it. We can't wait on anyone else to come and help us. We have to help ourselves. Change is one of those things where you can either wait for change, or you can embrace it, or you can actually activate it. And having a conversation like this is how change happens.
Yeah.
We are talking about
small conversations.
Yeah, small conversations making a difference, which actually leads me very quickly onto an event, a Zoom event that's taking place on the 9th of December, which is called BAME Men Talk Health. I don't know if I can hold this up. I don't know if you can see it and put it in front of my face.
Put it to the camera. Yeah, put it to the camera.
Is that okay?
Right. BRME Men.
No,
BAME Men
Talk
Talk Health. Okay.
Yeah.
BAME Men Talk Health. Let's just focus on that a bit. So tell us a bit about what's going to happen at BAME Men Talk.
Okay. What I will do, it's a Zoom event, and it's Eventbrite registered. And what I'm going to do after, Alex, is send you the Eventbrite link, so you can post it out and people can see it and get a free place on the seminar. It's taking place because it's basically what we've been talking about. So we are doing this. This is the third one in a series.
All right.
I'm working with 2 other organisations in Bristol, not just Nilari, 2 other organisations. We're bringing men together. There's going to be a speaker. And what we are doing is literally what we've been talking about in action. Black men are coming together. Yeah, they're coming together, and they're talking about how they're coping in this pandemic, how they're coping generally in the workplace. And it's a safe space where we can actually express how we feel, because everyone's a man. So there's all men there.
BAME Men Talk.
Yeah, talking about how we feel and sharing experiences. And that's the other really powerful thing, Alex. We share the experience. So you understand that you're not going through this in isolation. There is somebody else who's going through the same thing, but on the other side of the city or the other side of the country, but they're going through the same thing. And when you come together to say, oh, wow, that's amazing. I thought I was the only one who was feeling really strange when I went outside or went shopping or stuck in the house. Saying, no, I'm feeling the same way too. So the power of a shared experience, is able to alleviate some of the stress that's going on in our heads. Getting it out of our heads, out of our mouths, talking about it. Talk about how you're feeling.
Wow.
Talk about it.
Wow, Matt, that was so well positioned, because we're coming to the end of the show now. That's so well positioned, man, to come up with that. Bring the flyer back to the top. We can just have a look. BAME Men Talk Health.
Yeah.
BAME Men Talk Health.
I'm going to get the Eventbrite link out to you later.
December the 9th.
Yeah.
2 to 3:30 p.m. and it's on Eventbrite. BAME Men Talk Health.
Yeah, I'm going to get the link out to you.
One, and you're going to send the link out.
I'll get
that is so good. I had one more comment here before we shut the show. Oh, great discussion, Alex. My day off, finally got lucky to listen in fully. Hey, thank you, Eve, for supporting the show. Thank you, guys, for supporting the show. I want to thank you, all the listeners out there, supporting the show each week, turning up, tuning in, listening to the replay. And Michael, it was great having you on the show today, talking about how we support men. That 60-second voice text, man, that is we don't even think about how powerful the tools we have in our hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, we walk around with our phones every day. We very rarely put our phones down.
We very rarely put our phones down.
So, you know, just look, go through your contacts. I haven't spoken to, Jonathan. Oh my gosh, friend I used to work with him a long time ago. Let me send him a quick voice message. Jonathan, how are you doing, man? That's it. It doesn't even have to be 60 seconds. Jonathan, how are you doing? I haven't seen you for ages. Are you okay? Bam, gone.
Hey. 60 seconds, 40 seconds, 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a minute. Just contact and say, I haven't seen you. I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? Is everything okay? What can we do to help you? And that's what we're finishing on today. That's what we're finishing on. The 40-second voice text. Michael, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you so much for bringing your words of wisdom. And for you, continue to always tell people to take their lunch break.
Absolutely, wherever you are,
always take your lunch break. Always. That is just an amazing concept. Thank you for joining on the show today. I look forward to seeing you again 11 o'clock next week on the Message Talk Show. Thank you so much. Chill.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Miss the show. You got to be on this show. The Message Talk Show is back again, back. Yes, it's time to tune into the Message Talk Show now. The Message Talk Show is going live Thursday, 11 o'clock. It's your show, my show, our show, the Globe Show, the World Show. You need to tune in. Don't miss this show. Don't miss this. Call your friends. Call your enemies. Get a cup of tea. Get a cup of coffee. Get your breakfast. And tune in to the Message Talk Show. Thursday, 11 o'clock.